Welcome to a 5-part wildlife photography journey into Amboseli National Park. A land of superlative wildlife and unrivaled photographic potential. All set against one of Africa's most iconic and breathtaking backdrops. I'm Matthew Williams-Ellis, a professional wildlife photographer. Join as I search for the perfect composition of a herd of elephants in front of the roof of Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. I fulfill a lifelong dream of photographing on Amboseli's vast dry lake bed and explore Elephant Garden Conservancy, capturing images of the giraffe of the antelope world and actual giraffe. And finally, I'll come face to face with TJ, one of Amboseli's most iconic super tuskers. In this episode, part 3, my aim is simple: to improve on my previous elephant in Kilimanjaro photo. And spoiler alert, it just gets better. A reminder that in wildlife photography, patience and repetition almost always lead to stronger images. Success.
Yeah, if possible, just as far towards the end, and then they'll be in front of Kilimanjaro. Oh, this could be good again. They might be quite small, but the scale of this scene should be amazing. There's a fine line between scale and then your subject just being invisible. I'm going to need some really strong shapes of the elephants at the bottom here.
This scene here is absolutely epic, but the elephants are tiny in the scene. And then I've got Kilimanjaro up above. So what's going to make this work is the shapes. So there's one right now, for example, that keeps putting its trunk up and twisting its trunk, and even though it's tiny in the frame, the difference it makes when you have almost like a focal point for the image compared to just all of them sort of messy and spaced out. There's one putting its trunk up now. That sort of thing is going to make a big difference to the composition. The other thing is there are birds flying over, and that's actually, this is nice. But yeah, the difference it makes, just to have those little extra elements like an elephant with its trunk curled or the birds flying over. So those are the small details that are hopefully going to make this image work.
That is perfect. Thank you very much. Awesome.
So we've got a big herd of about 30 on the right, and then the herd of about 20 something on the left. So I'm going to wait in particular for this herd of 20 because they're going to go in the same direction as this herd of 30, and that will give us the best chance of them being as close as possible, just to make them a little bit bigger in the image. That's a patience game. I think this is quite a good example of where it's better to be closer to your subject. So I could take some shots now. In fact, I'll take one to show you. When you shoot at 600mm and you try and do close-ups of your subject, it feels like your subject is so far away. Whereas when it then gets closer, it feels much more intimate. So wherever possible, that's why you sort of want to ideally position yourself closer to your subject where you can. Okay, so they're just getting to the point now where they're going to move in front of Kili. So I'm just hoping they form like a nice line or create nice shapes, or one puts a trunk in the air, something to lift it. But this could be really cool. This is coming together really nicely. I'm trying a combination of some panoramas with the whole herd and then some that are just focusing in on the area underneath Kilimanjaro. Oh, there's one with the trunk in its air. Nice, that might have been really good. The one in the middle had its trunk up, which just sort of forms this focal point for the whole image. I guess getting a little bit closer now, which is definitely improving it as well. Yeah, that's good. I've got this one that's slightly closer, which forms like a really good focal point. And they're all really nicely spaced out at the moment as well, which is really important when you're photographing groups. So now this one that's at the front is sort of on the right hand side of Kili. It sort of feels a bit lopsided. I wanted it walking into the frame from the left with Kili on the right, and that sort of balances it. think that could be a really cool, sort of quite creative black and white composition. There's this mother and its baby, tiny baby, and as it walked past in the back, it was in the shadow of its mum, but its mum was lit. I think they'll make quite interesting shapes for a black and white composition. Quite a fun shot of a cattle lever on the back.
As I took my final few images of them passing by, I noticed one elephant that, much like myself, was clearly a bit slow in the mornings.
There appears to be one elephant way behind all the others that didn't wake up this morning and has been trying to catch up. But the rest of them have all passed now. These are the last ones. Amazing. All heading towards the marshes just behind us. That was really nice actually, because this last elephant is sort of trying to almost catch up, moving quite quickly, and its trunk is swinging and its tail is swinging. It creates quite a nice energy, and actually it's quite a good distance away to create this sense of scale. Like it was really small in the image, but because it had the nice shape, I think it will work quite well as an image. Well, that was absolutely epic. That's sort of the name of the game here in Amboseli, it seems. Is you sort of see where the elephants are heading, park up, you wait, and then you just let it all unfold. And that could not have been more perfect. Success! That was amazing.
While I'm aware I am starting to sound like a broken record, it turns out it could get better. But first, I switch my focus to the baby elephants in the herd, who always add a lot of energy to an image.
I'm just going to briefly interrupt this video to say that this video is sponsored by, well, me. I have 2 online courses and mentorships, The Art of Wildlife Photography, which is all about how to get creative with light, capture creative compositions, and the art of telling a story through capturing moments, behaviours and interactions. And I've also got one to do with the best settings for wildlife photography. So if you're not sure about what the best camera setup is, and you want to get your camera set up exactly like I have it set up, then that would be the perfect one to join. If you want to know more, you can visit www.masteringwildlifephotography.com. Back to the video.
So now with another herd of elephant, very similar area, but they're not quite at the marshes yet, and trying something a bit different. There's no possibility here to line up the herd with Kilimanjaro. So what I'm trying and playing around with is there's loads of young babies in the herd, and I'm trying to get shots of the young baby elephants in between their mother's legs to sort of create that feeling of protection, that slight sort of nervousness that baby elephants have, but they also have this sort of excitement. It's just like joy to be in life. They found their trunk for the first time, they're throwing it everywhere. So there was one there that just chucked its trunk at a cattle egret. So I'm going to try and get some shots that show that side of baby elephants, a bit of the protectiveness underneath the mothers and a bit of the playfulness with perhaps trunks in the air and that sort of thing.
The opportunities were seemingly never-ending, and as much as I could have already left Amboseli a very happy photographer, it had saved the best until last. I am a strong believer that there's always one last opportunity that you don't see coming, and that was certainly the case here.
This is going to be the epic shot of the trip. Can we go a bit further forward, please? I know I keep saying that is going to be the shot, but that was 100% the shot. I said it 100 times, so that was 100% the best shot I could possibly hope for with those elephants in Kili. They lined up and spaced out beautifully, perfectly sitting underneath Kili, and that panorama should be amazing. I hope. It's not often I know at the time whether or not it's good or not. Often I have to check afterwards, but that one, I think I know was a goodie. These elephants in Amboseli, every time I think I've seen the most beautiful scene I'm going to see, it gets better. It just keeps on getting better. Incredible.
In the next episode, part 4, I photograph one of Amboseli's most unusual looking antelope, and then turn my lens towards giraffes, hoping to frame them beneath Kilimanjaro.